I got involved in tennis at a very young age. I was about 7 or 8 years old. Don't know where the inspiration came from. Could have been from my father watching tennis or from bringing me out the first time, but ever since I grabbed a racket, I think with my ADD as a kid growing up, tennis really lent itself to someone who has a very short attention span because there's so many points. You play one point, you forget about it, you're on to the next point so quickly. So it worked out really well for me. The accident happened in 2011, and it was a normal night. Had a couple friends over at the house, and we were just jumping into the pool, and I was diving over the shallow end into the deep end like I've been doing since I was 9, and this time around it just went wrong. I just jumped a little bit too high, sort of caught my foot on the ledge at the edge of the pool and came in a little too vertical and just sort of glanced my head off to the bottom of the pool, and that was obviously enough to cause a break in my neck. Yeah, I mean the transition at first was pretty seamless. I got introduced to parasport right when I was in the rehab facility. I had 2 guys come in, one who played rugby, one who played tennis, who both introduced me to the sports. And when I was in rehab, I went on to the tennis court for my first time. And I was someone who was aware of parasport before my injury. I had coached it for 3 years, so I was aware that the opportunities existed. But playing it was a whole different story now that I had a functional limitation. So it was challenging, but I was at least aware of it right away, so I didn't miss any time from that perspective. Yeah, getting back into tennis allowed me to rediscover part of my identity again. Pre-injury, I was a very athletic individual. The community knew me as the tennis coach. I knew myself as an athlete. So when I got injured, I felt like that part of me was stripped away. And I really didn't know who I was after that, didn't know what I was going to become. So getting back into sport in general the first year was really about pushing myself and trying to rediscover that identity. But now that I've been playing tennis full time and at a very high level, it's a new identity. I never used to identify as a high-level athlete. I can now, but it's given me a little bit of piece of who I was before my injury back again, which is really comforting to have. As an athlete who doesn't really chase titles and chase championships, it's always hard to measure your improvement because you're not looking at the results as much as you are the process. And I felt like I was always doing the process really well and progressing as an athlete well, but the results always weren't there. So when the results started to fall into place, it gives you that objective measure now to say, okay, not only am I feeling I'm doing better, I'm actually performing better as well. Lima was super important, not from a winning gold standpoint. That was a cool bonus, but just experiencing a multi-sport games for the first time. As an athlete, you're always traveling around playing tournaments, but you don't get to always experience what that's like to be part of a larger sporting event. And for me, that was really cool to be able to go watch basketball, to be able to connect and socialize with other athletes, learn about their training regimens, learn about the routines they do, and it was just cool to feel bigger than just tennis, to feel part of Team Canada as a whole, not just Team Canada tennis, was really unique, and I think it gave me a small sliver of what Tokyo might be like. If I can continue to play really high-level tennis, that it's going to be hard for opponents to beat me. And that goes the same for them. I hope that when I'm in Tokyo that I'm competing against the best athletes who are playing their best, because that's the only way to really measure yourself as an athlete. And if the results come the way they did in Lima and I happen to win a medal, that'll be fantastic. But as long as I'm playing well, we're going to be happy.